Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Cyber Uncut podcast. My name is David Hollingworth. I am Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily, and I'm joined by my colleague,
Daniel Croft.
God, I'm still glad to have you so back from New Zealand. I'm really glad you had the holiday, but I'm really, really glad you're back because for those listening, it's going to be Friday. Maybe it's going to be on the weekend. We are in the busiest time of the year where we need to start writing ahead for the next 2 weeks during our Christmas shutdown.
Yes.
It's like we're living in this weird liminal hellspace of writing for today, tomorrow, next week, the week after. And I got to tell you, this time of year always does my head in.
Yeah, it is always a bit of a rush and a bit of a scramble, but we get there.
Did you notice how quiet the office was yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Just like head down, bum up.
Yeah,
that kind of energy.
Which you don't usually expect around Christmas. But
and certainly not in our office, which can be a bit rowdy at times.
Definitely. But you know what? It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to open the podcast with some troubling reporting, and we're going to talk about misinformation that spread regarding the weekend's shooting at Bondi Beach.
Yes.
First up, I want to say our hearts go out to everybody impacted, whether it's victims, whether it's law enforcement, force responders, and of course the Jewish community. This was just a heinous event. And you know what was making it worse? Grok,
yeah.
So walk us through it.
Yeah, so a few people flagged that Grok, the AI chatbot that you find on X, had spread a bit of misinformation regarding the incident, mostly to do with Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who, if you are unfamiliar, was the hero.
Dead set legend.
Yeah, amazing. He the footage is incredible of him disarming one of the gunmen. No weapon on him. He was behind a car and he dived on the guy and took the weapon off him before putting his hands in the air and telling cops, "Hey,
yeah,
I've gotten rid of this."
And he was grievously wounded in the process too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He's currently in hospital,
yes,
I believe, but
yeah.
It sounds like he's doing better from what I've heard. But anyway.
He had a visit from Anthony Albanese. That should cheer anybody up.
Yeah, and Chris Minns as well.
Yeah.
So I think people are, his tobacconist has it's been review bombed with great reviews.
We were
but anyway.
talking about going down there to buy a bottle of water just to support.
You're all, I might buy.
Yeah. Something
Tobacco.
else. Yeah. But yeah, so back to Grok.
Yeah. So Grok was, in response to that video, misidentified him as originally an old viral clip of a man climbing a palm tree.
What?
And it stated that this appears to be an old viral video of a man climbing a palm tree in a parking lot, possibly to trim it, resulting in a branch falling and damaging a parked car.
What?
Yeah, so that's where it started.
Okay.
It then incorrectly attributed a photo of him when he's been shot.
Yeah.
And said it was an Israeli hostage abducted by Hamas on October 7. A man that it says was Guy Gilboa Dalal. And news sources from CNN and Times of Israel.
Yeah.
It then referred to him as Edward Crabtree, a fictional character.
Yes.
Saying that Edward Crabtree disarmed the gunman. Now, this is all not...
How does this even happen?
Yeah, look, we know Grok has lesser guardrails than ChatGPT and things like that. But from what I'd seen in the last... 6 months to the year, it had actually gotten pretty good at identifying things correctly and using facts in debate, because a lot of people debate with Grok on X.
Yeah. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
But of course, Elon is constantly asking the devs to update Grok to reflect his worldview.
Yeah.
Which obviously results in whatever's going on
Not
here.
that his worldview is necessarily man cutting palm tree, but,
but
more that it skews the
that lack of guardrails, that I want it to reflect what I think, and that just has all these trickle down effects. Once you start meddling with those guardrails of what a chatbot considers truth and objective reality, and you start shaping it, that means there's going to be all these little follow-on effects that lead to Edward Crabtree.
The one thing I will say as well, I also think, because it sources information to back up what it says, right? This was such a recent occurrence that there was probably not the required information out there yet for it to make accurate assumptions of, not assumptions,
that's
but
something that ChatGPT
analysis.
GPT actually says. It was like, my training data is X.
It's from
years old.
exactly.
Like a year back, I think it was, you couldn't ask it about much more than anything that was in the most recent 2 years.
Yeah,
it's getting better at that now.
Yeah, it's getting more up to date. But
Grok is behind.
Well, to be getting stuff that quickly, obviously, that's been using page crawlers and things like that. But anyway, so Grok actually did later admit that it was wrong. First with the Edward Crabtree thing. And it said, the misunderstanding arises from viral posts that mistakenly identified him as Edward Crabtree, possibly due to a reporting error or a joke referencing a fictional character. So it said,
so it's saying that it's seen it somewhere else, which frankly, I'm going to take with a grain of salt.
Yeah. It also originally said that there was footage of the shooting on the beach, or I think it was of the gunman.
Yeah.
And it claimed that it was actually footage of Cyclone Alfred. And then it corrected itself on that and said, upon reevaluation, the recent incident in Australia refers to the December 14, 2025 terrorist shooting at Bondi Beach, Sydney, targeting a Hanukkah event. And then it goes into details about the actual thing.
And it starts to get it right.
And it talks about how many people, which that number has changed since. So, but yeah, it's something that if you do want to kind of read about, go and check it out. Because it is a really horrible event.
It's kind of distressing just how easily Grok, in particular, can hallucinate these events.
Yeah.
And because for some it is a trusted source of information, how that misinformation can just amplify out there in the media space.
It is troubling because, it's one thing for people to debate with it, but I think people who look for it as your new Google, as your source of information, I know people that do that. And repeatedly I tell them that's not how these tools should be used. They take information from where you'd be looking anyway and then potentially muddy it up. Just be careful using these tools.
Sound like I'm trivializing
for
what
research.
we're talking about, because I have found myself working with a bit of a habit of looking at the Genesis AI summary at the top of all my Google searches, but only when I'm doing something like I'm looking for advice on fish tank keeping. Because I figure it's going through forums which are decades old, it's probably reliable, and I will then back that up.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I find myself, look, it's a salient image there, you search something and it comes straight away up. It's really, really easy to get caught into, and that's how it's designed.
Yeah.
But I do try and stop myself. And as we've seen, when it comes to situations of this kind of magnitude and weight, it can be
which are evolving.
As we've said, the news reports are changing every day. We're finding out more information,
especially
about
in the hours after it happened.
I was out in Newtown, and initially there was reports that there was a shooter coming to Newtown, as well as I think Double Bay and one other suburb. And so we at first were like, we don't know how accurate that is, because this is getting a little off track and a little dark, but we would have heard.
Yeah, you would have.
And so we went to, because I was out for a mate's birthday, we decided let's go to one more pub. And then I got another person message me say, hey, I've heard this.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to his apartment for shelter.
Just in case.
And then we just sat there and watched the news. And watching that news, it was such a scramble. But even then, we were part of this kind of like, we don't know what's going on at the time. So, when you've got tools like this that kind of like manifest more of that.
Yeah. It really becomes part of the problem.
It does,
And moving on from that, and again, our thoughts, best wishes, prayers, everything to all those involved, and our thanks to all the first responders. But let's move on to another area of AI cyber risk, but this time it's about OpenAI.
Yes.
And this is a completely different thing, but they kind of pretty much say, AI, bit of a risk, bit of a problem.
So they're developing these new models, OpenAI.
Yeah.
And they're saying, look, as we get greater levels of cyber capability.
Yeah.
AI capability. I've actually made a typo. Oh no, I haven't. I just can't read.
Everything's fine. It's cool. It's a different issue.
Yeah. So they pretty much said, look, these models are going to get more cyber capable.
Yeah.
They're going to be more capable in general, and this, could create additional risk. So they're saying that These new models could be capable of developing working zero-day remote exploits against well-defended systems, or meaningfully assisting with complex stealthy enterprise or industrial intrusion operations aimed at real-world effects. This is a bastardized quote. And that's great in the right hands.
But bad in the wrong ones.
Yeah. You know, and we already know AI is contributing to a kind of like uptick in cybercrime activity. It's lowering this barrier for entry. A report by Vanta surveyed 2,500 customers in the US, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and Australia, found that threat actors are more easily crafting threats because you've got bots that, especially ones without these safeguards, can help with phishing, forming phishing scams, writing code. Things like that. Like this is really, really dangerous. So in response to this, OpenAI said, look, we acknowledge the risk. We're going to be putting in some safeguards that we don't want to completely squash these capabilities. We want them there, but we want them in the right hands.
And we need guardrails.
Yeah. So they said they want to ensure that these capabilities primarily benefit defensive users and limit how much they assist hackers and the like.
Okay, primarily and limit. Which, you know, if you peek through those words, says, look, it's going to happen, but we're going to try and stop it.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like, why would you only want to primarily benefit? Wouldn't you want to only benefit defensive users?
I mean, so we've got a swathe of, 2026 prediction features coming up from various luminaries and CEOs and CISOs from around the cyber and wider industries. And one of the through lines, mind you, this is something we've been hearing for a while, is the increasing, the prediction of the increasing uptake of AI amongst threat actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this could turn into a podcast on its own.
Easily.
But you also get the increased uptick of AI by businesses.
Yes.
It's a double-edged sword. You get threat actors using it maliciously and businesses that aren't prepared to use it properly.
It's an arms race.
It's a perfect storm.
It's classic TikTok cycle.
But even then, it could be more just that way as well. You know, where people aren't prepared to use the technology, and it could lead to vulnerabilities in terms of, social engineering.
I heard a great phrase in one of the predictions, AI veganism, that there'll be a segment of businesses which proudly say no AI involved.
And I actually think that'll appeal to a lot of people.
I think people in our own office, Jake Nelson, will absolutely find that kind of thing appealing. And, imagine, as part of your media masthead, for instance, no AI.
Yeah.
I mean, that appeals to me. And I say this as someone who works at a company where we are experimenting with AI in our journalism mix.
And I think, because you and I agree that there are certain areas where AI should just be completely ignored. Yes. I wrote a story, a story was written regarding Fallout Season 1 recap.
You worked on a story? Yes.
I worked on a story, perfect example. Yeah. And creative industries, go away. No AI whatsoever.
Yeah. Not just human in the loop, only human in the loop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, then there are... Anyway, like I said, this could turn into a whole other podcast. But... So OpenAI has announced all these different things that it's going to be doing to ensure that these models are primarily beneficial to defenders.
And it's interesting because that does feed back into what we we're just talking about with Grok. It's like you need to be careful of how the AI operates, where it takes its data from, and how much leeway you give it to infer from that data. And it's that inference, I think, which is the real gray area where Grok is right now.
Well, an AI inferring something or trying to think is probably where the human role is perfect.
Exactly, yes. It's go, no, I don't think that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, X. Anyway, on that note, we're going to close out our section on AI, and we'll be back very shortly with crimes.
Yeah, one of which has a little bit of AI in it.
Little
smidgen.
Anyway, we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Cyber Uncut. I'm David. I'm joined by Daniel. Now, okay, we're back to ShinyHunters.
We are.
Let's just say we're back to ShinyHunters, our old friends who evolved into Scattered Lapses Spider Hunters. Scattered Lapses Hunters. It's so confusing to keep track of.
It was Scattered Lapses Hunters.
Yes, it was. Yes, you're correct. Anyway, so that group is still evolving, devolving, part of the comm. Who knows? Honestly, I think even the smartest people in the room have no idea exactly how these groups operate and are connected. All we know is that they're just this nebulous group of dudes who know each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, I'll bet dollars and donuts, it's all dudes. So ShinyHunters are back. What have they been doing?
Well, we've got a hat trick
We do.
of hacks. A hat trick of hacks. Wow. So I wrote about SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So, it's a music sharing, audio streaming platform.
Obviously something you're keenly interested in.
Yeah. I know a lot of bands that will first post their demos to SoundCloud to be like, hey, because it's a much easier thing to access. But over the last few days, SoundCloud users started reporting that they were unable to get onto the platform.
Yeah.
And then others were having VPN issues. Now, this is actually weirdly for two reasons. So SoundCloud confirmed that it had suffered a cyber incident.
Yeah.
It said, look, we detected unauthorized activity in an ancillary service dashboard. That's not great for someone with a lisp. Upon making this discovery, we immediately activated our incident response, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Following containing the incident, it then suffered some DDoS attacks, two of which took down the site, and that's why people couldn't access it.
Yeah.
It did confirm that 1 in 5 users, so around 20% of users' data was contained in a database that was accessed.
How many users does SoundCloud have?
Oh, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. If not more,
If not more, yeah. Like it's a really big platform.
Yeah.
But they did say no sensitive data was stolen. I believe it was like names and emails were the kind of things. And they said that there was a limited data access and that kind of thing. They did not actually identify the threat actor, but our friends at Bleeping Computer,
who we'll talk about more in a moment.
Yes. They said they had a source that said that ShinyHunters was to blame. And so we don't know too much about that, but ShinyHunters has been quite active, as we'll quickly get to.
Yeah.
Only thing I'll quickly touch on, because I should have before, the VPN issue that I mentioned before, that was actually SoundCloud updating its security systems, and it led to some config issues. And
it just happened to be at the same time as the cyber incident.
Yeah. So, it sounded like,
this is big, this is widespread.
No. So it bolstered security systems, and it said there was some connectivity issues as a result with VPN. So don't worry too much about that. But yes, there has been some limited data access, and it seems like ShinyHunters.
Yeah. Well, so here's the story I'm at, and last I spoke to you about it, like it seemed more or less cut and dried, but just this morning I got in my inbox a message that I'll explain at the end of this, but it is a story, and it involves OpenAI and Pornhub, two of my favorite things. Well, maybe not quite so much. So in November, a data analytics company called Mixpanel fell victim to a smishing attack. It's a form of phishing. And the threat actor got inside of their systems, and because Mixpanel does data analytics for multiple companies, that meant that multiple data sets were potentially compromised. On November 8th, 2025, Mixpanel detected a smishing campaign and promptly, I love that word, smishing, promptly executed our incident response plan. This is Mixpanel CEO, Jen Taylor. We took comprehensive steps to contain and eradicate unauthorized access and secure impacted user accounts. We engaged external cybersecurity partners to remediate and respond to the incident. Now, they also said they were proactively contacting customers. And I'd say they were very proactive, because while she published that on November 27, on November 26, and we are a little bit behind the ball of this one, because a lot of overseas reporting. Not exactly close to home. OpenAI on November 26 said that they were caught up in the hack. The incident occurred within Mixpanel systems and involved limited analytics data related to some users of the API. Users of ChatGPT and other products were not impacted. This is not a breach of OpenAI's systems, no chat, API request, API usage data, passwords, credentials, API keys, payment details, or government IDs were compromised. It was all Mixpanel data, and it was all analytics data that OpenAI uses to work out what's going on.
Yeah,
with its,
for managing web analytics and stuff like that. Yeah,
I mean, so that's okay. It's still not great. Then December 12, Pornhub comes out and says, yeah, us too. And this is where it gets really kind of interesting before it gets even interesting-ger.
Yep.
It's a real word.
It's a good
trust
word.
me. A recent cybersecurity incident involving Mixpanel, a third-party data analytics provider, has impacted some Pornhub premium users. Specifically, the situation affects only select premium users. It is important to note this is not a breach of Pornhub premium systems. Passwords, payment details, and financial information remain secure and were not exposed. The company also said that this was historical data. They've not used Mixpanel since 2021. So new users, new premium users, nothing to worry about. Just if you've been to the site for more than a few years, maybe a little to worry, just a little to worry about. Yeah, how bad could it be? Well, back to Bleeping Computer. Now, we really respect Bleeping Computer a lot, and they've made the decision, which we wrestle with quite a bit, to actively be in communication with hackers.
Yeah.
Specifically people like ShinyHunters, Scattered Lapses, and all that. And because of that, they really get the inside track on what's going on.
Yeah, they do.
So according to Bleeping Computer, who was in contact with ShinyHunters, this is what Bleeping Computer said on 15 December. In an extortion demand sent to Pornhub, ShinyHunters claims it stole 94 gigabytes of data containing over 200 million records of personal information in the Mixpanel breach. ShinyHunters later confirmed to Bleeping Computer that they were behind the extortion emails, claiming the data consists of 201 million records of historical search, watch, and download activity for the platform's premium members.
Whoa.
Yeah. Look, I'm just saying, if you'd ever search something on Pornhub, I'm not saying I have, you may not want that search history to come out. And if it does, a whole lot of people got to get a whole lot of cool about a whole lot of stuff right now.
That's not great.
Bleeping Computer said that ShinyHunters shared a sample of the data and it looked legit. Yeah.
Incognito mode is not enough.
No, it is not enough. Now, I got remarkably smug when I wrote this article, the lesson, no modern company is an island. And I went into this whole, you've got to secure not just your perimeter, but the perimeters of your third-party suppliers.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole spiel, all of which is really, really important.
Yeah.
Except, as it turns out, Pornhub wasn't involved with Mixpanel at all.
Oh,
yeah. So I got an email this morning from a Mixpanel spokesperson that was like, they've retracted that. And sure enough, Mixpanel is no longer mentioned as the party that got breached, not Pornhub's case at the very least, but that they were using Mixpanel and that an unauthorized party had accessed part of that Mixpanel bucket of information. Effectively. Mixpanel came out with more info, which I think says everything. Mixpanel is aware of reports that Pornhub has been extorted with data that was allegedly stolen from us. We can find no indication that this data was stolen from Mixpanel during our November 25 security incident. So they're going, yeah, we had one. Cool. Or otherwise. The data was last accessed by a legitimate employee account.
Huh.
Yeah. At Pornhub's parent company in 2023. If this data is in the hands of an unauthorized party, we do not believe that is a result of a security incident at Mixpanel. So this is really quite complex.
Yeah. So if this, because the reports are suggesting that ShinyHunters is the one extorting Pornhub.
Yes. And who are claiming to have gotten it via Mixpanel.
But that kind of data they wouldn't have gotten from
Well, the thing is, if the data was in a Mixpanel system.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a breach. It was a legitimate, basically, an employee account.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, think of that.
But they said 2023. That's pretty old. It still could be legit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So legitimate employee account. So either it's an insider threat or it's stolen credentials. But the Pornhub issue is nothing to do with Mixpanel's breach.
No.
As we initially reported and believed at the time.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Mixpanel's people reached out to us and said, hey, that's not the case. So
good on them for being proactive, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you'd
have to be.
You have to be, absolutely.
Yeah, also that's quite damning, data to.
And the thing is that there are multiple companies that have been caught up by this Mixpanel breach. And they're not denying that. They didn't come out and say, oh, we weren't anything to do with OpenAI. They're going, yeah, they were, but not Pornhub. That was their problem, not ours.
So we've already got 3 big names that ShinyHunters has named now. And that's how they seem to roll. And they do like these kind of, oh my God, the term is blanking on me. Supply chain attacks.
Yeah, exactly. Third-party supply chain.
They
Hack
do.
once, get multiple victims.
Yeah. That seems to be how they roll. So as there's probably some victims we don't know of yet, this could turn pretty ugly.
Certainly,
I mean, those are big names, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, SoundCloud is not connected to Mixpanel, but that I know.
I know.
of.
I was about to ask about that as well.
That I know of. There,
yeah.
Like, there's been no reports that I've seen that there's any connection.
But the
could
point,
be wrong.
The point, however, does stand that you can't afford to look merely at your own company. No company, as I said, is an island. You know, they all have providers and suppliers of one kind, digital or physical or another.
Yeah.
Companies hold multiple sets of data that may not necessarily belong to them, so you need to know where your data is, who's holding it, and how they are holding it. And regardless of how confusing this incident is, I think that statement remains. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I would love to know how Pornhub, and apologies if I mentioned Pornhub too much, but apparently Pornhub is at the heart of the story, came to the conclusion that it must have been part of the Mixpanel breach. I wonder if somebody in their security team just went, they've been breached. Oh, this is Mixpanel data. It must be a part of that. And there's leapt to a conclusion. I don't know, but...
So this is interesting.
You do some live research?
I have. It's not the best research because the AI overview has said that SoundCloud does use Mixpanel.
Oh, dear.
And then...
Remember, don't trust the AI.
No, I don't. But then there is a TechCrunch piece from 8th of May 2023, and the kind of Google summary, not the AI summary, just the summary that's come up, has mentioned Mixpanel in it.
Well, I mean, there could be a link there. And Mixpanel did say they were proactively communicating with all of their stakeholders about that.
But Control F for Mixpanel does not show anything on that side. So I don't know.
Again, I mean, look, this is the problem with...
Watch this space. This is not the most productive...
Watch this space and watch your third-party suppliers.
Actually, Malwarebytes says SoundCloud, Pornhub, and 700 credit.
I don't think I've heard of that place. But,
and it looks like they are attributing this to Mixpanel.
Well, I mean, we know Mixpanel said it's not Pornhub, so...
I'll have to read through this. I'm not going to make any conclusions yet, but watch this space.
It's a confusing one. It's a really confusing one. But
watch this space.
But clearly, ShinyHunters is on the warpath.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they've chosen Mixpanel to be the horse they rode in on.
Let's go with that.
Let's go with that. Yeah, cool. Anyway, moving on from whatever the hell that was. Okay, we're going to get locally, and we've got a pair of local hacks, both very, very distressing.
Yes.
So you covered... Okay, Hyperdome. I mean, it doesn't sound like a medical center, but apparently it is.
And this one's weird because the one that was listed and the one that the data pertained to are two different Hyperdomes.
That's right.
Not the same business at all.
Yeah.
Not even in the same part of the country.
Yep.
So if we could start with that if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I believe it was the SafePay ransomware group. So last week I did mention that there was a third incident.
And this is that very one?
This is that very one. So SafePay listed, Hyperdome Medical Center in the ACT. However, I spoke to Hyperdome Medical Center and they said, no, it's not us.
And they were aware of that too.
Yeah.
So they were on the ball.
They'd probably gotten a call or they'd been reached out to from the threat actor and gone, no, it's not us.
And look, and this would be the first time where the threat actor themselves have gotten it entirely wrong.
Yeah.
Whose data they have.
I mean, I would also not assume that there are many Australian medical centers called Hyperdome.
I didn't know there are any because that doesn't, if I think Hyperdome, I don't think medical center. I think Hyperdome, the place for entertainment.
I think of like a BMX bike going around a big ball set on fire.
But no, absolutely, that's a Hyperdome.
So turns out what they'd actually listed, the data pertained to, was a Hyperdome doctors and skin clinic in Loganholme, Queensland.
Yeah.
Now, so these guys have been operating since 2000. I believe they may have had a different name originally, but it was always Hyperdome. So that I reached out to them. They didn't get back to me, unfortunately. But the data was pretty crazy. So it contained information about practitioners at the medical center, internal documents, that kind of thing. And like that was where the connection came in, that it was definitely these guys, not the other one because of the people it named. But really, really, really quite big data. I can't really say more about it, because it's all sensitive medical data.
It's bad stuff.
Not medical data, but internal stuff.
Internal stuff. Okay.
Stuff for me not to talk about.
Yeah.
So that was the hat trick, or another hat trick for SafePay. There was a third one there.
Coming at threes. So the one that I recently covered was up on the Gold Coast, and it's a medical centre with the way more appropriate name of Harbour Town Doctors. They got hit by the Reseda group. My old friends Reseda.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Right, yeah. Who hacked Insomniac Games back in the day and gave me an article which just trafficked like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, yeah.
But no, so they listed Harbour Town Doctors on December 11, and they went so far as to drop a number of documents to prove that that was the case. And Harbour Town Doctors letterhead, patient health summaries, all kinds of stuff that it just looks like patient data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pathology data, not pathological data. Pathology data. Yeah, exactly the kind of stuff that you just don't want out there. And they were selling it to anyone, not just the victim, but anyone who wants to buy it, because that's how Reseda operates.
That's how they do it.
For 5 Bitcoin. And considering how low Bitcoin is now, that's just $137,000. I mean, just, I say in air quotes, but...
Is it really that low? Not
Bitcoin's very low at the moment. I was surprised as well. It's fallen off a cliff. Okay, yes, you're looking very alarmed.
Apparently, it is $130,000 per Bitcoin.
I've done a typo. Okay, so that's 500,000.
Yeah.
Still, okay, that's more respectable.
652,000 Australian
Well
dollars.
done. Okay, cool.
There
I'll
you go.
update that article.
Sorry, not to just like
live sub-editing on the podcast.
Live
You've heard it here
research, live
first.
editing.
Live research. Oh, it's an exciting place to be, isn't it? But yeah, so this is what Reseda said. With just 7 days on the clock, seize the opportunity to bid on exclusive, unique, and impressive data. Open your wallets. Be ready to buy exclusive data. We sell only to one hand. No reselling. You'll be the only owner. Only to one hand. That's a phrase I love. You only see that in Russian hacking forums and hacking groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, if you want to be the only owner, whether you're the victim or whether you're Boris in St. Petersburg, sorry, St. Petersburg, you're a lovely city. That's how much it costs for you to buy this medical data. Yeah. It's just worrying to see in 1 week 2 more Australian medical centres get hit by hackers.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but also unsurprising. I don't know about you, but when I look at my GP's office, since I started writing on Cyber Daily, I look at my GP's office and I go, you guys are just really not ready for this.
Yeah.
Old machines. Clearly, there's no one in the office apart from maybe Greg, who knows computers, and yeah, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. And it's not their fault.
No, it's not.
They have limited resources.
It's the nature of a small business. And, you know, if you're a GP, you want to focus more on healthcare, which is, that's what I want them to focus on. I would love them to focus on healthcare. That's a good, that's a good
maybe
thing.
Security of that health data second. But
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
think that's the responsibility of any particular GP. I think this is a whole of industry problem.
I think so too, yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be I don't think we're going to see less of this in 2026.
Oh no, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to have a great big year.
And again, it must be said, Harbour Town Doctors did not respond to our request for comment, so we don't know for 100% certainty. But when you see letterhead, yeah, I'm pretty certain. So that's the week in cybersecurity and crimes. We're going to take a short break and be back with some good advice, if not good news, and just a little bit of a yarn and wrap up about what we've seen over the last 12 months. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Cyber Uncut. This is the last Cyber Uncut of the year, thanks to a really happy coincidence with the fact that all the next Fridays over our break are public holidays. So yay us.
Yeah.
And I'm sad for anybody else at Momentum Media who doesn't have that opportunity, and they're recording multiple podcasts to go into the holidays. But anyway, so this is the last Cyber Uncut for the year. So we're going to leave you with some advice. Are you traveling over Christmas? Probably not. You've just traveled.
No, I have just traveled, but...
Yeah. So I am. After New Year's, I'm flying to Wagga, where I'm being picked up by a friend, driven down to Shepparton, staying with an old mate for a few nights, and then getting the train into Melbourne, staying there for a night, and flying back. So a bit of time in airports.
Lovely.
I like spending time in airports.
Yeah.
The beer is always really, really cold.
It is.
Really cold. However, I also use airport Wi-Fi.
As you would.
As you would. However, airport Wi-Fi does come with problems. It is public Wi-Fi. And Konstantin Levinson, co-founder of Planet VPN, contacted us with some really, really useful advice about public Wi-Fi. It's often not encrypted. It may not even require a password. And as we've seen recently in Australia, I don't know if you knew about this. I didn't get around to covering it at the time, but in November, an Australian man was sentenced to jail for what he did in November. He had created what was called an evil twin Wi-Fi network on domestic airline flights and was intercepting everyone's data.
Whoa.
And cabin crew noticed this weird second Wi-Fi network, informed the AFP. AFP investigates, and they find, oh God, what did they find? It's kind of wild. This is what the AFP said at the time. Forensic analysis of the data and seized devices identified thousands of intimate images and videos, personal credentials belonging to other people, and records of fraudulent Wi-Fi pages. This guy was just sitting on airline flights and harvesting whatever.
And this was on not airport Wi-Fi,
this is
plane Wi-Fi.
But imagine what could happen on the airport. Same thing could happen on the airport.
Absolutely the same thing.
So as Levinson said, public Wi-Fi, whether in an airport, hotel, or restaurant, is often unencrypted and sometimes doesn't even have a password. This makes it easy for bad actors to see what sites users visit or even hijack their user sessions. Users should be especially cautious this year as the latest AI tools allow cybercriminals to accelerate their attacks, including those targeting Wi-Fi networks. So here's our advice.
Yeah, what do we do?
What do you do? So here's our advice. VPNs. Really, really important. But most importantly, and this I absolutely agree with, free. Yeah, go for free if you want. VPNs can be quite expensive. They don't have to be. But if you go for free, make sure you go for one that doesn't collect records, logs, or your emails.
Beautiful.
So it doesn't store anything.
Yeah.
But make use of a VPN so that you can access that public Wi-Fi and no one even sees the data that you're throwing back and forth.
Beautiful.
That's a great way to secure yourself. Lock down your devices. Disable automatic connections so that if you have previously connected to a Wi-Fi network, you don't automatically connect to it again. So you always
got to re-verify.
Exactly. So you always know. Turn off file and printer sharing on laptops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a vector for people getting into your devices.
Yeah.
And this is a really good one. Install software updates before you travel. Make sure every device is up to date because all those, what might seem an innocuous device update probably has a security update in there as well.
Yeah.
And it's those vulnerabilities that hackers take advantage of.
Of course.
So, third, treat public Wi-Fi as read-only mode.
And some of this should be quite, of course, but people do it.
Think of the work that you and I do.
Yeah,
when we're waiting in an airport, post an event, and we're working on the site. We're posting stories to the site. We're sending emails back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're browsing the dark web.
I've done that on public Wi-Fi.
Maybe we should listen to this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is what Levinson said. Use public Wi-Fi for searching the web or replying to an email, but avoid making transactions. The same rules should be applied not only during holiday travels, but also in your daily life. And I think that's the important thing. Treat it as read-only.
Yeah.
Don't send anything across it. Just read.
If you're doing something that you would not like people looking over your shoulder at,
don't do it on public Wi-Fi.
Like if you're doing a transaction, as it is mentioned, and you're putting in credit card information or something like that, you don't want someone looking at that. So don't do anything you wouldn't want someone looking at. And
honestly, we framed this as what business leaders need to know when using airport Wi-Fi this Christmas season. But as Levinson said, this applies to everyone.
Yeah.
You, me, if you're traveling with your family and trying to communicate with family elsewhere, you could well be a business traveler traveling over the New Year period. If so, I'm sorry. I hope you all paid for your time.
Yep.
But regardless, this is 3 really easy steps that will take you a lot of the way to being secure to use public Wi-Fi.
And going
public Pi-Fi, I almost said.
Going on the travel thing as well, if you're traveling overseas, you don't have an eSIM, you're not using roaming, you're going to be using a lot of free Wi-Fi networks in shopping centers and at McDonald's and things like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This all applies. And here as well. No matter
where
what.
you are on public Wi-Fi, if you're sitting at a shopping center food court and logging into the Wi-Fi there, it applies just as much as whether you're at Heathrow Airport in the UK.
Yeah.
So anyway, 3 tips that should keep everyone, not just business travelers, but everyone safe this holiday season. Please take it to heart. Now, as I said, this is our last podcast, so let's just take a few minutes. What has stood out for you this year, the last 12 months? What's really caught your eye? A hack, a trend, something you've noticed?
The thing we kept talking about, and the thing that kind of dominated the middle part of the year was all the ShinyHunters Hunters scattered spider stuff.
Lapses spider hunter shinies.
Yeah, and that we were speaking about, like, I reckon that's it, what's going on. And then it happened, and I was like...
You're kind of proud of that.
I am proud of that.
So am I.
I am proud of that.
We did pick that one.
Yeah, we got an editorial award at work for that.
We did. So we are big noting ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. That would probably be what stands out for me. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Is just one, how nebulous that group is.
Yeah.
I remember chatting to someone earlier in the year who lamented the fact that CrowdStrike had given Scattered Spider such a cool name. And it kind of cemented who they were. And they were, we are Scattered Spider.
Yeah, it kind of gave them the personality before it was even established.
Yeah.
But just, we've followed ShinyHunters for a long time.
Is it an individual? Is it a group? And we would go back and forth. I think how many ShinyHunters have been arrested so far?
Yeah.
At least 4 or 5.
And there's on the forum that they always use, Breach Forums.
We can name that.
Yeah, Breach Forums. On the forum they always use, at the moment it's down as part of, apparently doing something.
They're relaunching.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they've referred to themselves as an individual, it seems, I think. But then it's really confusing. They were saying things like, the Scattered Spider thing, that was an ex-member, which means not one individual. An ex-member that, they went off on their own and they, used our kind of identity for that and things like that. Yeah. And it's like, what?
It absolutely shows how difficult attribution is. There's a phrase that we hear a lot from analysts and such is a nexus.
Yeah,
and that because of this nexus of activity, we are pretty confident that we can assign this activity to this group. And I think too often it's very easy to go, oh, well, then it must be that group.
Yeah.
I think analysts probably aren't nearly as aware, or certain as they may sound at some times. And this is sometimes added by the confusion that some analysts will refer to a ransomware. The ransomware itself by its name, and it's Lockbit ransomware used by whomever, not the Lockbit group. And that can also be the case. Then you get ransomware as a service and affiliates being tied to one group and then moving between groups. Dragos's latest industrial ransomware report talks about the fact that affiliates moving around between groups and taking advantage of leaked ransomware builders is part of an explosion of ransomware groups at the moment. So it's just, attribution is hard.
It is, yeah. What about you? What is the highlight for you, do you think?
Highlight, low light, it's a hard one.
The thing that stands out.
The thing that stands out. I think Qantas is a really interesting one.
Of course.
Because it goes back to Scattered Lapses Spider, Scattered Lapses Hunters. It's the end of the year. I'm very, very tired. In how that one just evolved and how quickly Qantas responded to it, I've got to say.
Yeah, we were both quite impressed with how they responded to that.
I mean, they were on it before we could even contact them, before anything hit the dark web. And 9 times out of 10, we're the first ones to see when something's happened to a company.
Yeah.
It's very rare when a company goes, yep, that was us.
Yeah.
Qantas did it the day after. So their response plan was just bedded in. I guarantee you they had their comms ready to go. I think we said this at the time.
And I also think, once again, for the big story of the year, I was away on leave when it hit. I don't remember where I was, but it was the same with the CrowdStrike thing the year before.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And it was like, I'm always...
Don't go away on leave. It gets really, really hard. Thankfully, this year, there wasn't anything that I can remember over your recent break that was really...
No, I was keeping an eye because I'm like,
I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure
surely.
It'll happen.
No, that had to be...
But yeah, and then seeing how it just rolled into, as you said, everything with that group and their proclivity for social engineering. So obviously they're technically adept, but their main in, just calling someone up, brazenly saying, I'm with your support team. We've identified an issue on your device. We'd like you to install some remote software. Here you go.
Yeah.
Boom. Hacker voice. I'm in.
Yeah. Not ignoring the basics, apparently. No matter how sophisticated
which also
you are.
illustrates, as we were saying earlier, just how nebulous this community of people is.
Yeah.
Going back to 2 or 3 years ago, Lockbit was everything we were talking about. It was Lockbit this, Lockbit that.
Yeah,
It was so active. Now they've just released Lockbit 5.0.
Yeah. Usually that would be like, oh, we'll report on that. Lockbit 4.0, I remember reporting on.
They're a shadow of their former selves.
They are. Yeah. And that was after all the government takedowns and things like
Operation Kronos and all of that. So being able to, I think it's also, the Qantas hack is a big one. But I think being able to, for you and I, to start to get an idea of how all this is connected, to start to get a feel for who's doing what and where and why, and get that sense of, this feels like that actor.
Yeah.
And our senses are starting to get tuned in. What are you looking forward to in the new year?
Well,
apart from a break.
Well, the break's good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to in the new year. The evolution of AI Daily.
Yes.
As we know, AI Daily has launched.
AIdaily.au?
.au, just like cyberdaily.au. Sister publications. And just seeing how that goes.
This is an ongoing and evolving project from Momentum Media, trying to embed AI agentic writing alongside, of course, a human in the loop. And you, Dan, are the human in the loop.
Yeah, it's, and people have heard our opinions on AI on this podcast.
We are
a lot.
very, very untrustworthy.
Yeah. And
I can't think of a better person to look after this kind of project is someone who doesn't trust it inherently.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think, you see a lot of these AI publications go straight up online.
Yeah.
And it's just absolute slop. And we're not about that. This is about being a journalist is such a human thing. It's about telling, it's storytelling and things.
Yes.
And it's a really important thing. Having an AI spew out something that is likely wrong, as I've observed.
Yeah.
Or they put a positive spin on something negative.
Or a pun into a headline where it does not belong.
Yeah, we had a really nasty one the other day.
That one. Yep.
No, and stuff like that. Like, it just shows that these businesses that are adopting AI blindly, that's not what this is about. That's not what the technology should be used for. Now, to augment human activity, and to allow you to work faster without any drop in quality. Now, that's something that we're about.
Yeah.
And that's what we're experimenting with here. And so far, so good. I've actually been quite impressed. There are certain things that, are definitely still 100% human jobs.
Yeah.
There are certain articles that come up and
an AI can never write the kind of article that you and I love writing, and that is a breaking news story about a hack that's just happened.
Or something like
absolutely breaking right now.
Or like if we start to dive into opinion.
Yeah.
It's a computer. It should not have an opinion. And I think opinion is like something that
Butler NG had now for the Dune fans.
Yeah. It's something that, I think it's really good for us to express, and especially with a space like AI, which is constantly changing, constantly developing. Opinions are very split on it.
Yeah.
That's something really, really good to express your 2 cents in. This space will be very much human led.
Yeah.
But AI is playing a role, and the way that we're doing it at such a minimal scale is, I think, the best way we can be.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how this evolves.
Yeah, I think you're doing great work.
I'm pretty proud. It's come a long way.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I'm going to be a bit vague. I'm going to be a bit teasy. Okay. We have at Cyber Daily and at Momentum some big news coming up.
Oh, yes.
Soon. Yes,
oh, yes.
We will be expanding ourselves. We will be finding a new audience. We'll be doing new things in 2026, and I cannot wait to go into more detail in the new year about that. But the news is big. It's big for Cyber Daily. It's going to be big for Cyber Uncut. It's going to be big for you and I, Dan. It's going to be big for you, our audience, because we're going to be bringing you more of everything that you like.
Yes.
But for now, it's enough of bringing you anything. It's the end of the year for us. It's the end of the line. Dan, thank you so much for being such an outstanding podcast co-host. Next year, we'll be joined a bit more often by Bethany, our new graduate hire. She's fantastic.
She did a great job while I was off.
She really did.
Driving around in the van.
And I think she'll be a great addition to the two of us to make us into, every now and then, a bit of a trio when she's not doing aviation podcasts or defense podcasts or space podcasts.
Yeah, she's stretched pretty thin.
She really, especially right now at this time of the year.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for all the feedback. Dan and I really, really love getting messages, whether it's in LinkedIn or whether at an event, one of ours or something else, and someone going, hey, listen to your podcast. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'd listened to someone who works with an Australian trade mission in DC, told me this morning that he's found the podcast really, really useful. And
Yeah.
it just always makes my day.
That's it's the best thing to hear.
Yeah,
I spread that.
If you don't like us, I don't know, maybe don't tell us, but reach out. If there's something you think we can do better, we would love to hear it.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, what we want to do at the end of the day is provide you with some news, some opinion, some trends, and also give us a chance to editorialize about the news, which we try and keep dry most of the time because it's very important what we write about. I'd love to thank our AV team who's just walked back into the room. Totally great timing. Thank you for all your help. I want to thank Area Momentum that supports us, Liam Garman, our boss, who is so very, very supportive of the crimes we write about and don't commit. But ultimately, we wouldn't be here without you. I cannot wait for you to join us back again in 2026.
Yeah.
All right. Signing off.
All right. See you later.
Bye.